Hey, I am back with another video, and this time it's a good one. Well, I feel like all of them are good though. Anyways, this is the best pineapple upside down cake I have ever tasted and baked. It was very moist and just so full of flavor with the fresh pineapples. So here I am. I start off by cutting the or slicing the pineapples in half because the pieces are pretty thick when you buy them in slices like this. This was a 20-ounce pack that I picked up from the store. Next, I melt half of a stick of butter to prepare for the sauce that goes at the bottom of the pan along with the pineapples. I melt the butter until it simmers over just a lower to medium heat. And then I add half of a cup of brown sugar, which is 96 grams. I add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla to that, along with half of a teaspoon of cinnamon. Mix all of that together until it's well combined, scraping the bottom and the sides, making sure that you get all of the sugar and everything incorporated there. And then I spray my pan. I'm using a springform pan, which wasn't the greatest idea because, with the pineapple upside down cake, you kind of have the juices seeping out of the bottom of the cake or the pan. But it worked out. I spread the syrup mixture at the bottom of the pan, just all around, make sure it coated the bottom. And then I dabbed the excess liquid off of the pineapple slices. Here I am trying to figure out how I'm going to fit all of those pineapple slices at the bottom of the pan. You see how I changed my approach. I sliced the pineapples in half, and that allowed them to sit a little better than how I was going to do it the first time. After the pineapples, I add my cherries. The cherries that I use, you can see, are not the candied cherries that most recipes call for. I do not like those at all. They are way too sweet. So I'm just using the dark sweet cherries that you get in the can from the canned fruit aisle. Put that in the refrigerator while I prepare my cake batter. I start off with 18 grams of tapioca flour, 3/4 teaspoons of baking soda, and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And then I add 3/4 cups of white whole wheat flour, which is 90 grams. As you probably know by now, I substitute some of the flour in my recipes with white whole wheat flour. And then I add 2 cups of all-purpose flour, which is 252 grams. Make sure that is all mixed together. And then I move on to my wet ingredients. I start with 1.5 sticks of butter and 1.5 cups of sugar. I start off by mixing it on low speed, and then I speed it up to about 4 or 5 on my mixer until it gets light in color, scraping down the sides in between. And you can see it changes color there. Then I add my 3 large eggs and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. I add the vanilla and the eggs to a measuring cup and just add the eggs one at a time. And the vanilla just goes in there along with the eggs. And one thing I'm always sure to do is to scrape the bottom and the sides of the bowl, especially after mixing the butter and the sugar together, just because they can easily get lost at the bottom and sides. So here I'm adding half a cup of sour cream, which is also 140 grams. This is what makes the cake so moist and delicious. Then I begin alternating my flour ingredients with my milk. So yes, this cake has both sour cream and milk. Half of a cup of whole milk, which is also 120 milliliters. I add about a third of the milk after I add about a quarter of the flour mixture. And then I add another quarter of the flour mixture. Make sure that's all incorporated into the batter. And then I just continue to alternate until the milk and the flour is gone, beginning and ending with the flour mixture. And make sure I scrape off all of the batter from my spatulas also, because my spatulas sometimes have flour and butter and sugar that's not incorporated. So I just scrape it off and make sure I get it all incorporated into the bowl. For this recipe, I actually increased it to 1.5 times the original recipe, because I wanted to the cake that I was making was for a customer, and I wanted to make a small one just as a taste test for myself and my family, which is the reason why I multiplied it by 1.5. So if you want just the recipe for one cake, I can place that recipe in the description box. So here's my personal size cake. It's not really personal size. It fed probably like 2 or 3 people. And I had a little bit of batter left over, so I added that to the big cake pan. I placed that in the oven and quickly realized that it was in a springform pan and that I did not want the bottom of my oven to have any drippings from this cake. So I placed it on a cookie sheet there that I lined with foil. Baked it at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and I baked it for about 30 minutes or so to begin with, and then I believe I added about another 5 minutes after I looked at it, and it didn't look like it was quite done. So I say between 30 and 35 minutes or so. And it turned out so perfect. Both of them did. This was by far the best cake that I have ever tasted. I think it was the fresh pineapples and cherries and the sour cream. Just watching this video is making me want to make this cake again. That's how good it was. If you don't try any other recipe, I recommend this one. As you can see, I had no words. Thank you for watching.